Faithful, what's up? Happy 4th of July. Today's San Francisco 49ers report is presented by Manscaped. 20% off for the Niner gang at manscaped.com/49ers. But make sure you use that promo code 49ers for that deal to apply. If you haven't heard already, it is smooth sack summer. And when you're playing in the summer sun, like today on the 4th of July when I'm working and you're having all the fun, but thanks so much for watching the show. Make sure you're escaped from pubes to bum. That's right. This is the summer to keep your balls cool while still looking hot with Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming, and making sure that we all have a ball this summer by giving our pants partners everything they need to stay fresh. Dive headfirst into smooth sack summer by heading to manscaped.com/49ers. Promo code 49ers for 20% off and free shipping. Let's talk about the Performance Package 4.0. It is everything you need to prepare that summer bod. They have built the ultimate grooming bundle for your summer grooming. Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology, and the Lawnmower 4.0 has a 7,000 RPM motor. It moves as fast as the feet of Christian McCaffrey or Deebo Samuel. A new multi-function on-off switch as well that can engage a travel lock, because if something is buzzing in your luggage and you're going through TSA, you don't want any questions. It also gives you the ability to turn on the 4000K LED spotlight when needed for a more precise shave. They are also in the beard game as well as Manscaped. So we're going to put that link in the comment section and in the description of this video. It is manscaped.com/49ers, promo code 49ers. If you're by the pool right now and you're like, oh, crap. Yeah, Manscaped will help you out. All right, let's talk Trey Lance trade here. Some of you may have just said pause, but it's all good. We're having fun on today's show. Trey Lance trade. Could San Francisco deal the former number 3 pick during the preseason after trying to up his value throughout training camp and with some of his performances throughout the preseason? I was listening to the 49ers Talk podcast by Matt Maiocco and Jennifer Lee Chan on NBC Sports Bay Area, and there were a couple of moments in that podcast where the alarm bells rang for me, considering how well tapped in to the organization Matt Maiocco is, and I certainly trust his opinions and his reporting when it comes to the Niners. So this is one thing that he said which really stood out to me. The most important part for Trey Lance will be the lead-up to the first preseason game. I think the 2 joint practices against the Raiders will be huge for him, because what he does on the practice field against the Raiders will have implications throughout the NFL. Now, you might hear that, and you might say, well, of course he has to practice well, right? San Francisco wants to see that a guy with little experience, 4 starts in his NFL career, 21 combined going back to 2019, can actually play, especially because he's been injured a lot in 2+ seasons with the San Francisco 49ers. But, hold up. The line to focus on here from Maiocco, quote, what he does on the practice field against the Raiders will have implications throughout the NFL. He's not talking solely and specifically about the San Francisco 49ers here. Matt Maiocco is talking about the other 31 teams across the NFL. Because if Trey Lance performs well against the Raiders, other teams will see all of the reports coming out of training camp that Trey Lance is spinning it. He's accurate. He's improved that accuracy. He looks really good as a guy who has so much potential and prototypical size at 6'4", 225. Then if he goes out and follows up a good week of practice against the Raiders and then dominates Las Vegas in game action in Las Vegas as well against the Raiders, then a lot of people will see, not just hear, some of the improvements that Lance has made. And if there are teams out there in need of a quarterback, or have a quarterback get injured, a quarterback is struggling currently on that roster who's slotted to start, could they call up the San Francisco 49ers and ask about Trey Lance's availability if they think that the Niners are very content and comfortable moving forward with Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold as their top 2 quarterbacks? And remember, San Francisco, weirdly enough, kind of high on Brandon Allen, who's been a long-term backup behind Joe Burrow. Let me throw this at everybody here. If Trey Lance performs well in training camp as well as in the preseason, he makes some of those marquee improvements that he needs to make. Brock Purdy heals up from that elbow injury, and Sam Darnold is a capable backup for San Francisco who shows that he's capable of winning games. If Brock Purdy were to be out, doesn't make a lot of sense to have Trey Lance on this roster, and he could get dealt at some point during the preseason. Because if Trey Lance has a $9.3 million cap hit in 2023 and a $10.8 million cap hit in 2024, albeit with the base salary around $1 million, does it make a lot of sense to have him on this squad if he's the third quarterback when other teams out there might be willing to pay a nice little price for a quarterback who's still very young, who has a lot of potential? Look out for that this offseason for San Francisco. As for the quarterbacks on the hot seat across the NFL, Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask, yes, that's not a joke, competing for the starting quarterback role for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It is kind of a joke, but it's actually real. It's happening in Florida. Desmond Ridder, Cincinnati product, going into year 2, kind of unseated Marcus Mariota at the end of last year as the Atlanta Falcons starter. So he goes into his sophomore campaign as QB1 there in the ATL, but is he a long-term starter? Maybe not. Sam Howell, slated to start in a loaded NFC East against the likes of the Philadelphia Eagles, New York Giants, and the fraudulent Dallas Cowboys. Tua Tagovailoa has so many injury issues, so if he hurts his head one more time, is his NFL career over, and do you reunite Trey Lance with Mike McDaniel? And then there's Kirk Cousins, final year of his contract. I don't worry about him failing to produce unless it's in a big spot. If an injury were to happen to Kirk Cousins, though, Trey Lance is from Minnesota. He could be that young quarterback that they want to mold, and they get him a year ahead of when Kirk Cousins' contract is set to expire. So, with that, let's ask you this. This is today's poll question here. Would you trade Trey Lance this offseason? Why for yes and for no? And as you go down into that comment section, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. And if a trade happens, whenever the Niners make any move of any kind, we talk about it here on the show. And when big moves happen, we go live. And we go live every single week. You get the point. Hit that sub button right now. Here's more from Maiocco on Trey Lance. And this one pretty interesting as well. The practices against the Raiders he continued will be very important for Trey. Let's face it, the fact is that Trey Lance's future with the 49ers is not a given. Not in any stretch, a given. So that's Matt Maiocco, who sometimes is an earpiece for the organization, saying, look, Trey Lance's future, it is somewhat in doubt because of some of the reasons that we've talked about here today and some of the reasons that we've talked about a little bit before. Now, that's not a report. That's more of an opinion from Matt Maiocco. But if the Niners believe that Brock Purdy is their guy, what's the point of holding on to Trey Lance, right? You're basically not allowing him to live up to his expectations in his NFL career. You're blocking him from having other opportunities, from just sitting on the pond, sitting on the bench, and watching Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold ahead of him. And this is what you also have to keep an eye out for. Over the next couple of weeks, over the next couple of months, in the time period up until the start of the regular season, and the preseason for that matter, if you hear some positive leaks out of the 49ers organization, what could it mean? Keep tabs on this. It could mean that the San Francisco 49ers are leaking positive information about Trey Lance to up his trade value to a certain degree so that another team could come calling. Just saying, that's how these things work with agents who are sometimes slimy, organizations who are sometimes slimy, and at the end of the day, any business out there, regardless of what field, is always trying to get maximum value for assets. Feel free to interact with me on Twitter and Instagram at Chase_Senior. Do thank everybody for watching the show today. It's a blast talking Niners on a daily basis, and your support humbles me, makes me feel absolutely blessed. Let me know what you're doing for this 4th of July holiday. Hopefully soon I'll be joining, having a beer, sitting poolside.